Hello, hello, and welcome to Paint Yourself into the Picture, healing conversations to help us create the best picture of our lives. I'm Reba, and I'm so glad you're here. Our guest today has found a unique way of helping clients paint themselves into the picture. Kassi Gregory is an intuitive artist and spiritual walker who creates safe spaces for people to explore their connection with their animal spirit guide. Kassi's gift leads to clarity regarding identity, empowerment, healing, and storytelling. How wonderful. Welcome, Kassi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you doing
Yes.
today?
I'm pretty good tonight.
Great.
I'm in Australia.
Right,
Yes.
it's not very well.
Yes. What would you like to know about my animal spirit guides?
Tell us what this is. I'm very intrigued by the idea of what you do. And can you explain a little bit about what you do? And also, how did you find yourself doing this?
Oh, that's a long story. Like I've always been an artist when I was younger, like always just wanted to do art. And I used to do art just to help myself because I've always felt like a very different person in the world. I guess it made me feel a sort of connection with the world and connection to everything around me, especially when I felt lonely. So growing up being an artist, it gave me something I was passionate about, something I could connect to. Uh, so first it was just about art, and I've always been spiritual as well, but I never really thought my art and my spirituality would ever get together. But I guess I went through a period in my life when I got married. I felt like I had to be practical, and I just disconnected from that part of myself. And I went through a lot of pain doing that, but as well as a great discovery because it really showed me how much creativity was important in life. And so after a while, I got back onto the bandwagon and I thought my art actually helps me feel like I'm a person and makes me feel like I heal. And I sort of started thinking about art therapy and just healing lines like that. But still, it just didn't feel right. So from there, I just kept saying to the universe, how can I make my art bigger than me? It just feels like my art needs to expand. How do I do it? And I actually ran into a few ladies in the same weekend, like mediums, and they both told me that your art is clairvoyant. I said, what do you mean by that? You're a clairvoyant and you're an artist. You already know what you need to do. And so I got accepted to be a part of a weekend with lots of lovely ladies. And I gave readings just on donation. And just the way I touched people through my readings touched a part of myself. And I actually felt this is what I was meant to do. I went home and I just cried and cried and cried, just because I finally found an outlet with my art.
What kind
And
of readings did you do? How did you? I had to laugh to myself when you said the
yeah,
media told you that you would know what to do because it's always so frustrating. Like, no, I don't know what to do. That's you.
I,
Did you actually know what?
I kind of had an idea. I just brought a few crystals, my art book, and a pencil. I sat down and got the person to sit down with me, and I just started drawing.
Oh,
And I've done readings through cards, and this is the way, like it's like automatic writing. This is how I used to sort out my own problems, is just through drawing, and it just got that clarity through drawing. And so I thought I will try it with other people, and I got that clarity for them. And I had people where I was crying and they were crying as well, and I just couldn't believe that I could touch people outside of myself by just using my gift of drawing and
wow.
using my gift to heal myself. I realized I could also use that gift to heal others. And I feel this is how I sort of stumbled in this. It was hard at first because I had to admit to myself that I'm going to be a medium, and it's sort of coming in a practical world saying, oh, I'm a medium now. It's like, uh, how do I share that with my friends and family?
Right.
So that in itself was an opening for me. I had to learn to say, this is who I am, and share it with people and express it as well. That took me a little bit of time, but people were more supportive than I thought they would be. Like
Mm,
my husband, he's kind of on the fence about things, but he goes, I love you. If this is what you want to do, go for it. And even he can see me touching other people's lives, and he's even been inspired by me. So I'm lucky that way that I have that support as well.
yeah, that's a really
Um,
interesting thing to have
mhm,
to do to suddenly appear. And a lot of people that I meet
mhm,
have that situation where they have to kind of come out as who they are, which is
mhm.
a scary thing, especially when it's really outside the box of what was acceptable. But I have a question about that first reading. Were animals emerging, images of animals emerging at that point?
Yes, there was. Like I've always talked to other guides as well, but just reaching my higher self and talking to my higher self about why animals. I think I like animals because it's safe for people,
Mm,
and it's sort of connected to that earth. I don't think I'm gifted. I feel like I've just touched a part of myself that we all have. Like, I think deep in ourselves, there is so many personas within ourselves that we don't dare to touch because we think we might be judged and we're too scary, or it's too scary to go there. So I think I've just accepted a part of myself on the many layers of who we are and said, this is who I am. Like, I think everyone has this ability. It's just using that part of yourself to see if this is important to you, I guess.
So could you explain a little bit about what is an animal totem or an animal, some kind of an animal guide in a person's life? Is it part of who they are, as you were just saying, or is it,
Um,
how do you explain it?
I'll go through my process when I sit down with a person. I believe it's a part of their energy because I believe in the analogy we attract who we are. So usually when I sit down with a client, I sort of take that time just to get comfortable, and I actually connect with the heart space before I connect with the guides up there. It sort of feels like I need to connect with a person before I can allow their spirit to come in. So I sort of open up my heart to them and see if they're comfortable opening up their energy to me.
Mm.
And from there, it sort of feels like there's a triangle happening between the energies um, where the guide comes in. And then what happens is it's like I have stories coming to me. I've always been a visual empath. So, how I do readings, it's like I get these stories coming to me about what's happening. It's quite exciting, really. Like, I've always had odd things happening, like I could see things on people and
Oh,
stories surrounding people, colors, and all that. So my life's always been like this. It's just admitting it to people and saying, this is who I am, without sounding too crazy. But it feels, once I started this work, it feels like everything that I didn't understand about myself just came into play. But going back to the animal spirits, because I sort of went off the tangent, I believe as a part of the person's energy that they're attracting. Um, like, for example, in a few readings, I've had like people like Jesus and that coming. I don't know if that's Jesus or an energy light that from that person, and what their trials are and what their needs are, and the energy that they're attracting to themselves. Like, or I hate, because I get a snake or a lizard and people go, ooh, what's that? But with that energy, it's a different feeling. It's more a primal sort of survival sort of instinct when they come through. And when I just say, don't worry, you're not evil or something, it's just there's something that needs to be tapped in with your survival that's not happening here. It's energy is different for each animal. It's kind of really like different levels
I
of energy, because I feel it as well as like a story, if that makes sense. Like if you could feel a story, that's what it's like
I'm
when I
starting to,
have these.
well, this is great. You're really painting a wonderful
Hmm.
picture of this process. So let's say
Hmm.
you're sitting in front of somebody and the image of a wolf is coming to you and you're
Yes.
drawing them and we're going to show some of your drawings soon. So don't
Hmm.
worry, everybody will sort of see what this is about. I think a
Yeah.
visual will help a lot.
Yeah.
Um, so you're drawing it, and at the same time, you know, you've got the image of where the person fits with the animal, but are you also getting a special message for that person, or is this sort of, oh, here's wolf energy and wolf energy means, or is wolf is saying to you,
It's more like the wolf is telling me a story and saying to me,
uh-huh,
um, like
you,
just for
to you,
this.
to the client, to the person sitting
Yes.
in front of the, yeah,
So when I'm drawing, I'm actually talking to the person at the same time,
ah,
and they're acknowledging me. My favorite one, and is coming to me at the moment, I could feel that a lady was having problems with her family. And so the sort of mother of dragons came into the energy for us. And I just talked about her being stronger than she thinks she is. She's like a mother of dragons, and just talked about the dragons looking after her children and that. And she told me like a little bit later that she finally worked out the things with her husband, because her husband was quite, well, not nice to her. She finally found the courage to say goodbye to that relationship, because she really evoked the strength of the dragons coming through. And I'm not sure if it's the story that's talking to me or if it's the actual animal talking to me, but it's just the knowing in that energy when I'm drawing what that person needs. It feels like a grand connection with something bigger than all of us. If does that,
yeah, it's kind of mysterious. I really wouldn't be able
mhm,
to explain it either. So
mhm,
I think it's great for people. It's actually really beautiful for people to see you trying to explain it, because what's beautiful is the trust that you have in it, even
yes,
without having an intellectual, well, this is what's happening and scientifically this is why it's happening and
mhm,
all that stuff. It's just, no, this is the process and it's coming through and it's helping people and
yes,
it's fulfilling you at the same time. So just going with that flow is so important, because
mhm,
we can't always have all the answers before we do something. And a lot of times we need to actually experience it in order to learn more about what we're doing. So
yes.
let's actually show the viewers a picture. Do you have one handy, or should I
Yep,
pause?
I've got a few things on the table. Like this was more one I've done for myself because,
Yeah,
sorry, the reflection.
yeah. We'll just get it.
Um,
That's good.
yeah, just, yeah. This one was when I was feeling, like, as I said, I was feeling a bit lost at the time and that. So I needed the feeling of that universal connection to make me feel loved, and that there was something out there that was bigger than I was, I guess. And so paid on for myself, just to feel that love that I was missing for myself, to, I guess, evoke that self love. There's something that is love out there. Just remind myself.
Yeah.
Um,
And in
my
drawing the picture, you're actually giving
mhm,
that expression of love to yourself. You're
yes.
you're manifesting. It's like it's there, but until you draw it, it's not really manifest.
Yes, so, well, I was kind of thinking something like this before we had this interview about my work. Even if I'm a spiritual person, but I think even on just the level of the imagination, if you're not spiritual, I think it works. Like my work sort of fits into the hero's journey, the mystic helper that comes to you. Like we all have struggles in this world, so I guess I offer that introduction to the mystic helper in your life.
Mm.
Um, Because you think about movies when we grew up, like there's always those movies where, you know, the hero struggles looking for someone, something pops into their life, evokes their imagination and helps them find the strength within themselves, and they're transformed in some way. I guess that's another reason I created, or not created, but been drawn to this work. Because I've always done fantasy work even before I chose to do this work, because I like creating other worlds in my art without being spiritual, because it sort of gives people permission to live somewhere, live another way through art.
Right.
um, and I think before I decided to go this way, that's what I used to do with my art, is to give people permission to live another way, to remind them that they don't need to be pushed and shoved in life, and that there is something magical in this world. There is something that is invoked deep down inside of us. And I guess that's another reason I love being an artist, because an artist can open worlds to people, and that's the world I want to open for people, is to show them that there is more magic beyond the world.
Yes. So you compared it to automatic writing, earlier,
Mm-hmm.
similar, which is when you are, just for those who don't know, one technique would be to write with your left hand to free your mind from your normal
Yes.
control, or other techniques are also available. So why are people, as you're doing this, do you feel that animals start to emerge? Like, are you just sort of making strokes on the page, and suddenly, oh, it's a snake, or oh, it's a bear, or oh, how does it happen for you? How does
I
it
just
come?
started drawing. I've always just started drawing. I think it's something I've done since I was a little girl, because I've never had the manifestation in my head
Uh-huh.
before. It's just always manifests in my hands,
I see.
even when I was young. So I just start drawing, and I even giggle to myself. It's like, oh, I go, oh wow, like
That's
it's a dolphin. It's like, wow, this is so magical. Do you know how magical dolphins are? It's kind of a real surprise to me as well. So I think that's why I think I'm more a conductor than the artist myself, if that makes sense, because I surprise myself.
That's such a
It's
wonderful attitude, because I think
mhm,
when you start exploring most spiritual modalities, so many of them are to have the point of view of curiosity and wonder, and
yes.
release the control. So that is exactly what you allow to happen on the page. You've released control, and you're an active participant, but part of you is also a spectator to what's happening.
I don't think it's fair for me to take control. I think I'm just working for a higher purpose, I guess. When
Mm,
I do this type of art, it's kind of like a meditation that takes care of itself, if
mm,
that makes sense. If I
does.
think once I take control, it just cuts the whole connection. And I love the connection I have doing this work. And I think that's what it's all about, is creating that connection for the other person. And just I get to be the bystander and explore it
Right.
and be just as amazed. So I don't have a problem with it, but it's just, I think that's why I love being an artist, because I've always been kind of like a conductor more than an artist.
Yeah.
So everything I do, I'm so surprised myself.
I think actually that's what makes it such a spiritual practice. And I think that
Hmm.
actually many artists have that experience of getting into the flow and being vessels and conductors also.
Hmm.
So, but you're doing it more intentionally as a spiritual practice
Yes.
to help yourself and to help others. So it's really beautiful. Um, I am so curious. I wonder what would happen if you were to make a drawing for me. So I'm going to talk with you about that. And other people might be interested too in experiencing this. So how can people connect with you?
Okay. I have a website, which is www.tigrisillustrations.com. I will spell that out for you because it's quite long. It's TIGIRIS illustrations, illustrations.com.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll put that in the notes underneath the video, so it's going to be available for everybody. It was so wonderful to meet you, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for the invitation. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure for me as well. And I want to thank all our viewers for watching this episode of Paint Yourself into the Picture. We love your comments, your subscribes, and your likes, so please do so. And I invite you to stay in touch. My websites are rebalinker.com and A to Z,
All right.
A-T-O-Z, healingspace.com, our new healing center. Join us again next week for another healing conversation. Until then, remember, every obstacle is a doorway. We just need to look for the opening.